is up, everyone out there in the internet lands? Subalias here again, and we are going to be talking about designing your own kick drums using Operator in Ableton. So today we are actually going to be synthesizing a kick drum from scratch, sort of creating the raw source for what we would use as a kick drum. I know what you're thinking, that you can easily go out there into the vast world of the internets and download a plethora of kick drums that, not gonna lie, they do sound very good. But one great thing about making your own kick drum is you can slap your name on it and say, that's my kick drum. Now that's something that I like to take pride in when it comes to music production. And if you just take a little bit of extra time, a little bit of practice, you can make great sounding kick drums too. So today we're just going to look at the basics of how a kick drum is synthesized, and we're going to make a quick one here, and actually how to map things to macros to actually make this a useful instrument in the future. So like you could just make this instrument once, load it up, and then you can quickly design a kick drum. If you're familiar with there's plugins out there like Kick and Kick 2, which essentially do this exact thing. We're just going to kind of be doing it from the ground up here in Operator. All right, let's jump right in. So first things first, Operator, right when you open it up, actually the pitch is key tracking, meaning that if you play notes on the keyboard, the pitches change accordingly. We actually want to change that. So what I want to do here is put oscillator A in fixed mode. So now, no matter what key I hit, it's going to play the same pitch. This is totally up to you. I would recommend doing it this way. Some people just like to very quickly be able to change the pitch by playing a different key. However, I'm actually going to end up setting up a macro knob for the pitch. So here under frequency, I'm going to go down to 55 Hertz, which I know is the note of A. You can find out what note you are playing in fixed mode by using Ableton's handy little built-in tuner. And there we go, 55 Hertz, right on the money. So the first thing that I want to do is turn oscillator A back on for one. I actually want to create a percussive envelope here on oscillator A. So right now it's just a sustaining sound, right? So what I want to do is I want to take the sustain, put that all the way down, and bring the decay down, let's say like 175 milliseconds. That's a little too short, so let's go up to 250. I'm going to go up even higher to 315. There we go, that sounds good. All right. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a MIDI clip here. I'm going to fold, there we go. And I'm just going to hit play. So that way we can, I don't have to keep hitting my MIDI controller over here. All right, so there is our sort of foundation for our kick drum. The concept here is we want to use the oscillators and the different envelope options in Operator to create the different layers of a kick drum. We just created the main body of the kick drum, the actual pitched part of the kick drum that contains all of the low frequency information. Next thing we're going to do is put oscillator B in fixed mode as well, and we're going to create another percussive envelope. Now the decay time for this is going to be significantly shorter. I'm going to go with 30 milliseconds just to start. I'm going to set the frequency, we can leave it like 100 Hertz. We could always also tune that to A. So if we multiply 55 times 2, we get A, but an octave higher. So now what I'm going to do is turn up the level on oscillator B, and this is what we're going to get. So we get a nice little thud there. We get a nice little click at the beginning of the kick drum. So oscillator B right now is acting as part of that sort of mid-range sound where it's the actual like transient, the actual impact of the kick drum. The next thing we want to do is we can then add a third oscillator to emphasize that click even more. So we're going to turn on oscillator C. I'm going to bump that up to 220 Hertz, and let's go ahead and turn that up and see what we get. So you can see it gets a little out of hand if you turn it up too high. So be careful with that one. I do usually keep this on the lower end of the range for the level. Now we're almost there. So the next thing that we want to do is go over to the pitch envelope. Now the cornerstone of every great kick drum, especially synthesized ones, is a good pitch envelope, and an envelope that is actually mapped to the pitch itself. So a few things, going to set the initial to 0, going to set the peak, we can leave that at 12 for now. I want to bring the decay down and then turn the pitch envelope percentage all the way up. This is what we're going to start getting. Now while this is playing, we can then adjust the decay time. And we can also adjust the pitch envelope percentage here. One thing we can do as well, we can set the peak at its highest value. I believe it's 48. Yep. And then we can use the pitch envelope as our control for the peak. There we go. That's basically it. We have 3 oscillators here, one carrier with 2 modulators running in serial, and they are acting as the different layers of the kick drum. So we have the body, and then we have the sort of mid-range thud of the transient, and then we have the higher sort of high-mid frequency range click that we get in the kick drum as well. Now, I was talking about making this a more useful instrument where we can actually save it into our user library. Now what we're going to do there is group this instance of operator. So we hit Control G or Command G if you're on a Mac, and that is going to group it into an instrument rack, and we are then going to apply some mappings here in the macro section. So what I want to do is right out of the gate, let's see, I want to map the level of oscillator B to macro, let's do macro 7, and oscillator C to macro 8. And I'm going to name this thud, and I'm going to name this click. And there we go. So now I have independent macro controls for both of those parameters. Then I also want to map the pitch envelope. I'm going to map that to macro 4 and rename that pitch ENV for envelope. Now I'm going to hit the map button here in the instrument rack, and I want to set the minimum for the pitch envelope percentage at 0. I do not want the modulation to go to the negative side of the polarity here. So there we go. Now, next thing I also want to do, I'm going to map the decay to macro 3. So let's see, so pitch on decay. Let's see, I'm going to say pitch decay. There we go. And there we go. So now we also have a control over here that will control the decay as well. Now let's see, other good things that we can map. We can also map the frequency of A here, which would be our overall actual tuned pitch, to macro 1. And we'll just rename that pitch. Now, I do want to scale that as well, so I'm going to say 41.3, which is about the note E, and I'm going to say the max be like 200. No real reason to go any higher than that. You can hear even 200 hertz is pretty high to be classified as a kick drum. Now, last couple things that I want to do here. I am going to use the filter drive here. So I'm going to go click on the filter, change the shaper here to soft, and then I'm going to map this drive to macro 2. And then I'm just going to name this drive. And I also want to scale this because I don't ever really want it to turn the sound down. I only want to go into the positive end of the range here. And now we have a nice control to just add a little bit of drive, a little bit of oomph to the kick drum. So lastly here, I like to utilize this time control. Now what this does is it adjusts all of the envelopes, including the pitch envelope in Operator, as they are like from where they are right now. So let me go ahead and give you an idea sort of what this does. Sort of a global envelope control there. So I'm going to right click that, hit map to macro 5, and I'm just going to leave that classified as time. And I'm going to leave the entire range available just in case I want to either make like a little short kind of clicky sound or some big sort of sustained kick drum sound like that as well. And there you have it. Now, the only thing I would do here is just hit the little save icon, jump into my user library here, and just enable this Kick Synth 1. There we go. Now, anytime you open up an instrument rack, you can just add that on there. Go into your MIDI clip. Add some little MIDI notes there. And you're off and running. And there we go. That is how you create your own custom kick synth right here in Ableton, so you too can be proud of your kick drums. Thank you for watching, everyone. It is always a pleasure. If you have any ideas for future videos, if you have any questions about this one, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to check out some of my original music that I will have down in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys soon.